So I've been doing 31 Days of Horror Halloween October reviews for 5 years now. And 5 years ago, all those years ago, I did do a review of The Fly, David Cronenberg's The Fly, his 1986 version of the 58 film starring Vincent Price. One of my favorite movies, if I can just reiterate some things really quick. One of the best remakes ever made. One of the best horror movies ever made. Personally, one of my favorite movies. It's great sci-fi. It's great horror, especially like with great body horror, as only the twisted mind of David Cronenberg, Canadian, can give us, with some expert performances and a great love story that kind of surrounds it. And Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum are great in it. Particularly Jeff Goldblum, who's so excellent. Just on his like personality, Jeff Goldblumism alone, but as he becomes more and more the Fly, and under all that makeup, you can still sense the human being underneath, and all the transformations mentally and emotionally and philosophically that follow with it. It's just exceptional, and of course you can take some deeper meaning out of it too. Whether it is about an allegory for like AIDS or cancer or anything like that. It's about the deterioration of the human body, basically death and rotting and all that scary stuff that really I think cuts deep into certain fears we have and despairs even. But it's a hopeful story. It ends. If you basically know the plot of it, there's the element of the plot where Gina Davis's character, she gets pregnant, and it becomes a struggle of, well, is this baby going to turn out bad? She has a horrible nightmare of like the larva coming out of the womb, and like should I get an abortion and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately we're left hopeful in a way. But all those years ago I talked about The Fly, praised it as I'm doing right now, but I never talked about The Fly 2, the sequel from 1989, which I'll say it's not one of my favorite movies, nowhere near The Fly, and I think in a lot of ways it does kind of slap the original in the face with certain plot elements to it. So I'm going to be talking about the Fly 2. I don't own it on DVD or anything like that, but I actually caught it on Netflix because I haven't seen it in a while. So I wanted to see if my opinion was still the same on it, and I believe in giving movies second chances, and no movie is entirely without something to like about it, and in most cases I'd say, at least in like big budget movies, maybe like big Hollywood movies where hundreds if not thousands of people actually put effort into it. I'm not talking like $5 done on like a camcorder kind of piece of crap. And anyway, this movie, it does deal with those questions that we may have had about Seth Brundle, the Jeff Goldblum character's son, and is there anything going to be wrong with this kid? And the movie opens with his birth, and kind of there's like, I don't know, like a little gag where we see like this pod, like this, not like a larva, but like, I don't know, like this cocoon almost that comes out of the Gina Davis character, who's been recast as someone. And we're like, oh my god, it gave birth. And then they open it up and it's like a little baby inside. It's like, oh, okay, well, whatever. So the movie's about the son, basically. And like, you kind of think back to, not just to the original Fly, but the original Fly, the 1958 version, if you recall the Vincent Price film, the story isn't about like this scientist who meets this girl and they develop a relationship. No, it's about a scientist who's married and already has a kid, and in kind of the same general terms of the plot, he ends up dying and things like that. But then I think it was the sequel, Curse of the Fly or Son of the Fly. I forget what the sequel's name is, but the son takes up the work of the father, basically, as happens in these types of horror movies. Frankenstein, The Fly, whatever. But in this one, how can we really do that if the son doesn't exist and we don't know what the fate of this unborn child is? Well, the child gets born, and we follow the story in a weird way where he has like accelerated growth. So Eric Stoltz is the one playing the son, and like he's supposed, in the reality of this movie, like they show some early scenes where he's quote unquote a little kid and he's kind of growing up. But technically, as we see full grown Eric Stoltz in the movie, he has this, I don't know, generative affliction where his growth is accelerated. So, like, let's say 30-year-old Eric Stoltz is 5 years old in this movie. So the movie stars a 5-year-old character, technically. So there's that. And, one thing you might remember from the first movie, there's like a throwaway line, basically, where Seth Brundle mentions that he works for Bartok Industries. He says, oh, they leave me alone because I'm not too expensive. I just say, build me a particle accelerator this, a flex capacitor that. Flex capacitor? I don't know. But anyway, this is like a throwaway line. Well, guess what? This movie's all about Bartok Industries, and everything goes on in the big company there. It's a big evil company kind of movie, and we, of course, have the old evil Mr. Bartok kind of pulling the strings of everything like that, and kind of manipulating the kid and lying to him and promising him things and trying to manipulate and I don't know, take advantage of his inherited genius of his father, and working on those telepods and trying to figure things out, and also just waiting for the mutation to take place, which is in his genes. It's his birthright, so to speak. So they know from day one that Martin Brundle, that's the son's name, that he's going to turn into a crazy fly creature just like his dad, and like we must harvest it, and we'll have control over it, or whatever. I don't know, some stupid shit like that. Let's chain up some raptors and train them for the military, that kind of stupid shit. But whatever. But I mean, that's basically what the movie's about. It follows some similar beats as the first one, where there are some good gross out scenes. Like there's one scene, I mean, like if you wince at like needles and stuff, there's a really good scene where like he's squirming in the chair, the doctor puts a needle in him, and then like he moves his arm and then like breaks the needle and blood flies out of the needle, and that's pretty like oh gosh, and things like that. And I don't know, if I can give the movie any credit, I'd say, like, let's say, if I can say this, yeah, the movie's almost kind of worth it just for, let's say, the last 20 minutes, which are really good. But you gotta go through some like bullshit along the way. So he's uncovering all this stuff and finding out. He develops a romance with a fellow Bartok employee played by Daphne Zuniga, the beautiful Princess Vespa from Spaceballs, you may recall. And this is a Brooks film production, by the way. Mel Brooks produced it. And, the nerd falls in love with the beautiful girl, kind of like the first movie, and then, things become more and more desperate as he's transforming into the fly creature and all these effects and cool stuff like that. But really, let's talk about the last 20 minutes where, yes, he does finally transform into the fly, and he's going rampage all over Bartok Industries. He's cutting down security guards, and there's this one asshole security guard that is gonna get it. And there's cool stuff where like he like sprays the acid, like the fly acid, right into a guy's face, and you see his skull like popping out of this bloody face, and it's really cool. And one guy gets his head crushed by the fucking elevator. And all kind of cool gory effects and shit like that. So I don't know, it's almost like a guilty pleasure kind of movie in that sense. It's like not anywhere close to a legitimately good movie as the original was. So there's that, but I don't know, there's just a lot of stupid stuff, like much like with the first movie, with like the monkey, instead of a monkey it's a dog, or the baboon I should say. There's a dog, and like he developed a relationship with the dog, he becomes good friends with him. He finds out that they left the mutated dog alive and it's suffering the whole time, and there's like kind of a sad scene where he's like petting the dog, and he puts it to sleep basically, which is sad. I mean, in a movie you can kill as many people as you want, as brutally as you have to. Don't kill a dog, come on. But I mean, I'd say with all that in mind, there is a satisfying conclusion where the bad guy kind of gets his, and it's a fitting fate, I would say. So The Fly 2, it's not as bad as I remember it. Like, I just watched it last night, so I just kind of I was flipping through Netflix. I decided to give it a watch. I'm like, okay, how bad could it really be from my memory of it? It's not. I mean, the thing is, it's, let's say this. Well, okay, I'll say I don't own it on DVD. I only own the first one. But way back in the day, I actually remember. This is like when DVD was like still a brand new thing. It was like really cool and awesome. The only way you could get The Fly on DVD was if you bought like a double feature set of The Fly and The Fly 2. So at one point I did own it, and it was a double feature set, and with that you kind of like watch one movie after the other. So I had seen The Fly before, but I watched The Fly, loved it, everything's so great, holds up exceptionally. I'm like, okay, I've never seen The Fly 2 before. This is, let's say, 2000, 2001, maybe somewhere around there. Watched the Fly 2 for the first time. I'm like, holy shit, what a piece of shit this movie is. So that's the thing. As a double feature, I don't think so. It's not going to be satisfying in any kind of way. But as, let's say, literally, so I guess if that was 2000, I haven't watched a movie in like over a decade. So I don't know. It's a movie you can watch far between the original and maybe get some enjoyment out of it. But if you watch one right after the other, it's a buzzkill. So that's my review of The Fly 2. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay tuned for more 31 Days of Horror coming soon. More horror reviews every day. And until next time, I'll see you later, and stay scared.